Good morning. Thank you for those who are already here. Great to see you. Um, let's start with a breath. So just stop, pause, let yourself become quiet, and turn your attention inward. And just notice your body. Become aware of any tension or sensations that you're feeling or noticing. And then become aware of your breath. For a few moments right now, go into the silence and just breathe. So, where are your feet? Seriously, before I asked you about your feet, did you know where your feet were? What about your hands, your jaw, your shoulders? Before I asked you to bring attention to those areas, did you know if they were tense, if you were holding your shoulders up, if your hands were clenched, if your foot was kind of crooked on the floor? How aware are you of your body right now at this moment? If you don't know what your shoulders and your hands are doing, how aware are you of what's going on in your heart, of what emotions you're feeling? And how aware are you of the thoughts that you're thinking? Are you thinking your thoughts or are they thinking you? Doesn't matter, actually. What matters is if you're aware of it. If you can't see yourself, if you're not aware of where your hands are, what your body's feeling, I have a friend visiting, so if you just heard some Guns N' Roses in the background, that was their phone. And I'm very proud to have a friend whose ringer is Guns N' Roses. So there's that. So if you don't know where your shoulders are, how can you know what your emotions are doing, your thoughts are doing? If you don't know what your emotions are feeling, if you're not aware of your thoughts, your emotions, your body, that's going on inside of you. How aware are you of what's going on externally, outside of you? If you can't see yourself, what else are you missing? What opportunities are you missing? What blindsiding risks are you missing? Right? What about the people around you? If you're not aware of yourself, you're not aware of the people around you. You don't know them, you don't see them, you're seeing at best your idea of them, which is never them, just as your idea of yourself isn't you. Go back to last week's class where we really began to look at who are we to get beyond the limiting ideas of ourselves, right? So the question that I'm really posing this week is, what are you missing by not being present, by not being fully aware? What are you missing being caught up in the story in your head? Right? If you got today's email, it's also pasted in the description below. I talk about if you're in a crowded arena, think of like Madison Square Garden post a concert or a Knicks game, because the Knicks are doing really well right now, which is really fun. And it's just crowded and everyone's loud. If there's someone far away in the corner and they say Kirsten, they could be talking to some other Kirsten. They probably even say Chrissy or Kristen, just because people have messed up my name enough that I respond to that. I hear it, I will turn, right? Because I'm so aware of my name, my subconscious, my conscious will pick up and hear it anywhere. This is the power of awareness. You can see things that you'd otherwise miss. And we've all had this experience of someone else calling out our name and us turning. They're not calling us in particular, or maybe they are. Our subconscious awareness has such a powerful effect on how we live. But if you're stuck in your mind all the time, if when you get quiet, all you hear are the 1,000 stories racing through your head, well, one, that's a good sign, because those stories are there all the time, not just when you sit. It's when you sit that you become aware of how loud your mind is. People often think they can't meditate because they think that their mind races when they sit. Your mind isn't racing when you sit. Your mind is always racing. It's just when you sit, you hear it. Just like when I asked you where your jaw or your shoulders or your hands or feet were, you became aware of it. Where you put your attention, your awareness, is what you're aware of. And there is a power in that, especially when it comes to the opportunities that you want in life. We all know they talk about like the blue Mini, right? Or the red Mini. It could even be a red Toyota or something. If all of a sudden you were on the market for, say, a red Toyota, a red Camry, all of a sudden you will start to see red Camrys everywhere. It's not that they just appeared. They've always been there, but your attention is now on it, so now you see it. Remember when you first learned a big word when you were young? And then all of a sudden it was everywhere? Remember when I first learned the... I remember first learning the word orange. I was very little. And I got excited that orange was both a fruit and a color. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, there's oranges everywhere. I very particularly remember this whole thing. I'm like, the color, the fruit, it's just everywhere. I learned it. I thought that I was magic, that I could make things appear. And in this way, we are magic. Because what you pay attention to, you will see. Now, the problem is that this works in both ways. Because if I'm aware of lack, if I'm aware of sickness, if my awareness, my script is, I never have enough money, or I always say the wrong thing, or I always miss the train, I'm going to find that evidence, and that will just reconfirm again and again my underlying script. There could be equally strong, and here's the thing, there is equally strong evidence of money's always coming to me. I always make the train. Or whatever the script is. But you're not going to notice those things because you're not looking for them. Right? And if you don't notice them, you don't reinforce them, and then you often miss them. Right? And especially when this comes to personal relationships, which is to me the most important part of life, our friends, our family, our loved ones. This is so important in relationships because we miss so much because we're stuck in our emotional scripts, our mental scripts. But also work, wealth, wisdom, in every area of life. What you see is what you'll get, right? Because it's what you're aware of. There's actually a technical part of the brain. It's called the reticular activating system, the RAS. And it is the part of the brain that is designed, it's evolved to give you what you want. So whatever you focus on, it will show you. So the best way to explain this is to the blue Mini. Like you're looking for a blue Mini, all of a sudden the reticular activating system will pick up, just like it picks up your name in a crowd. Right? It's part of the brain here. If you've ever been at a wedding or a cocktail event or something like that, it's a bit loud, not too loud, and you're talking to someone, and say you just happen to get caught by someone that you find very boring, but you're being polite, you're talking, and maybe they're a little important, so you're kind of entertaining it, but you're just very bored. Or it's someone who wants something from you and you're bored equally, but in the opposite way. And you have a friend nearby, and they're two friends nearby, and they're kind of just right behind you, right? And they start to talk about something juicy. Or just a song you like comes on the radio. You can tune out the person you're listening to and start listening to the juicy conversation or the song you like. And you will not hear a word that person's saying because your mind is on the other thing. This is the reticular activating system. It will tune out what you don't want or what you're not looking for. and it will tune in what you want. And you can turn it on and off. Play with it. Right? There's kids outside. I can all of a sudden turn my attention to them and just hear that. And then I want to hear other things. Right? You actually can direct your reticular activating system. It is all made up. It's Play-Doh. You can direct it to see whatever you want. And this is a power. Now, a lot of people get into this and they're like, oh, I'm just going to find the things I want, which is nice on the surface. At some point, that's going to become empty and boring. But it's good to know that you can actually find and look for what you want. You can find evidence for whatever it is that you want. And you might have to script it to retrain your brain a lot. But eventually that'll become empty because this is all empty. But that is your power. This is the power of awareness. Now, imagine that there was a simple, easy skill anyone can do, anywhere, anytime, that helps to strengthen and improve your power of awareness. You don't have to think about it. It was the first thing we did when we started today's session, when I asked you to take a breath. There is now so much evidence that stopping and paying attention to the body and particularly to the breath, not thinking, observing, because if I'm going to listen to the kids outside, I'm not thinking, I'm listening, right? You can train yourself to not think. Turn your attention towards the body. Pay attention and listen to the breath. And just notice it coming in, coming out. It's always new. It's always changing. It's never the same. If you're truly paying attention to the breath, you might not ever get bored. You might. Because it's always brand new. As you practice paying attention to the breath, you are training your body to get quiet. You are training your body. It's a physical practice. You're training your body and your mind to quiet down and listen. You start with the breath, but when you pay attention to the breath, you're actually expanding your awareness beyond the breath. You won't know this at first, but as you practice, this will become clear. And as you quiet down the mind, you literally begin to hear more, begin to perceive more. Because right now, your perception of reality is informed by the scripts in your head. We now know that there's evidence that people that speak different languages, were raised in different languages, perceive colors differently. Our language, our thoughts, they actually affect our perception of reality. What you think about a person is what you will see in that person. So be careful of what you think about a person, right? This is the power of your awareness. It has a power over you. It has a power over your relationships, over your life, your existence. And you can mold it and change it any way you want. And the power here is that you can practice this easily. It's just taking a breath. So let's do that now. Stop. Pause. Cast your eyes down. Turn your attention inward. And just notice your body. And for a few moments, just observe your breath. And as you do, the kids might actually begin to sound louder. And the voice in your head will sound louder. And if there's an AC or a heater blowing, that'll sound louder. Because you're increasing your awareness by stopping, becoming physically still, turning your attention inward, and just noticing your breath. The more you practice paying attention to your breath, the stronger and stronger your awareness becomes. Don't believe me. There's so much research on the power of meditation, on executive functioning, performance, productivity, whatever. There's a reason why corporations pay money to bring meditation in, because it has an effect on productivity and performance. Right? It has a power. Right? There's an efficacy. Just like doing push-ups has an effect on my upper body strength. You practice something, you get stronger with it. So I hope you can practice awareness. There's in my page on YouTube, there's actual just practice sessions pre-recorded. There's a lot of silence in there. And also down in the description is the link for our Thursday class every Thursday at 11:45 on Zoom, not on YouTube, because it's just dead air because we're practicing. We sit and practice. So join me. And between now and Thursday, try practicing. Just for a minute, even just 1 minute a day, set an alarm. Stop and just pay attention to your breath for 1 minute. You're beginning to build your awareness. And as you do that, you will begin to see and experience more opportunity, more connection, more joy, more life. You will wake up to your life. So this is my encouragement for you. I do have a friend visiting, so I'm not going to do a Q&A today. But soon, actually, what I'd love is if either in the questions or if everyone, I imagine everyone here got my email. If you didn't, the link to my website is on the email. You can sign up on my mailing list. If you have questions, I'd love to do a Q&A. You can email me the questions beforehand. You can send them to me. You can put them in comments. And I'd love to do a Q&A session. So either next week or the week after, depending on how many questions I get. Send me your questions, your thoughts, and I can start with whatever I get. And then if more are there live on YouTube, I can actually spend some time with Q&A. I'd really enjoy that. Thank you for being here. Big love. Sit. Remember, meditation is a physical practice, not a mental one. You just have to sit there. The mind is going to be loud. That's its job. As you sit and practice sitting, it will quiet down on its own over time. You know, it's my favorite quote of, do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and your water is clear? As you sit, the mud of your mind will settle. But just like mud, we don't want to get rid of it. It's the fertilizer. We just don't want it clouding up the vision, blocking out our awareness of other opportunities. Okay. Thank you, guys. Big love. Sit strong. Sit every day. This is your life. Don't miss the opportunity. And I hope to see you all live on Thursday. Thanks.